hold my hands up. We're definitely late this week. We got a bit distracted.
By 1 minute.
Yeah, I know. We were talking about stuff. So, apologies. Good evening, November Foxtrot. Welcome. We're obviously joined by Silly Ghillie this week, aka
Very silly.
Ed. Yes. Oh, funnily enough, Poppy learned Silly Daddy this week. So everything I do that makes her laugh, she goes, Silly Daddy.
About time.
Which is exciting.
Long overdue, that comment, I think.
So, good evening, Ed. Welcome. How are you?
I'm good.
Royalty in the building.
Hi, Harry. Hi, Kenny, Kieran, Stephen, Daz, Ashley, Matthew, Stephen Whitehead again, Ian Harding. Hey, guys. Nice to see you. NAF Mike. And you. William. Evening, boys. There's a few new faces and names. So, hello.
Evening, good evening.
We're going to be doing a mix of stuff tonight. So, it's going to be a jam-packed show. So I hope you all brought crumpets. If you're British, if you're American, it'll be a jelly-packed show.
Scones, man. Scones.
Well, scones, not scones. Scones.
Crumpets. Jam on crumpets.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, jam on
really?
crumpets. Good.
My wife agrees with you. Jam on crumpets.
Yeah.
I'm in the dining room, by the way, this evening because it is bastard hot in the loft. So I've taken over the dining room, which has gone down in an absolute storm.
Ed jumped in the shower just before the episode, he was telling me.
Yeah.
Should have come live from there, Ed.
It's best. It's the best way to cool down. It really is. I've had 3 showers today.
Lovely.
Fresh as well, I don't know. Fresh as an airsoft.
Fresh as an airsoft sniper could be without doing airsoft.
Yes.
So we're going to be talking about the National Airsoft Festival, which Ed and I were both in attendance of. And then we're going to be talking a little bit about the Empire events, Empire Rising 2, which will be coming up in October. And then we're going to be doing a bit of general Q&A if we've got some time at the end of the show. So if you've got any questions for Ed at any point, please feel free to throw them in the chat. Put a little Q at the beginning. Just helps us find them as they pop up. Similarly, if you've got any questions about anything else throughout the show, please do the same and we will try and get to them. Lance wasn't able to make NAE, unfortunately, so he's going to be kind of doing a bit of an interview-esque bit with the National Airsoft bit.
Apparently.
Should we start off by doing the news?
Is he going to interview us?
He's going to
I'm going to interview you about a weekend away that you two had together that I wasn't at.
That wasn't our fault.
Yes, there we go. That's what we're going to do.
Lance, you said Mike, is your mic on?
Cheers, Stephen.
No, as in your mic, using like the big boy mic.
I will double check. I believe it is.
Mm-hmm.
We'll work that one
Yeah,
out.
that's on now. That's better.
Good.
Wonderful.
Ever professional. Let's roll into the news.
I take my gun and I go pew, 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 pew.
News. So, purchases this week. Who's got what? Any exciting
I'm
news?
trying to make a background. I haven't got no background this week. I've got no green screen.
Does it have
Yeah,
to
I got a
be-
copy of Soldier magazine.
No, it's actually my pamphlet or my program from Military Odyssey. Not another copy of Soldier. Shut up, Mike. Ed, as your guest, would you like to disclose any purchases this week?
Not this
Bloody
week,
phone.
but 2 weeks ago. I don't change my kit often. Like I've literally had the same riff. I think we can't say it on the stream. Riff for the last 6 years.
Ruff.
But my new chest rig has come, so you probably better take that out.
Whoops.
It's not a riff. It's something else. We can't show
It's a
it.
riff.
Wibble.
So it's all crafted up. So it's probably not going to be easy to see what it is, but it's a direct action Tempest rig, and they are really good. They're the same company or parent company of Helicontex, who you probably have heard of, based in Poland. And yeah, they made this. It's like a split chest rig, and yeah, I've had the same chest rig I think 3 years, and I loved it, but I tried someone else's chest rig on, and I realised mine was slightly digging in at the back, and I just wanted to get something new. So yeah.
So it zips in the middle.
Yeah, so I mean, it could zip anyway. I don't really care about that feature, but that's the bit people notice. So it has a zip just there.
So would we class it as a chest rig or an assault vest?
I don't know. I could put it.
I don't know.
I think it's very minimal. It's literally just like 2 molly panels. Two molly panels and then M4 pouches there, which I can put pistol inserts into the M4 pouches to make it compatible. So yeah, that's my
Nicely
purchase.
Nicely done. What about you, Mike?
So I've got a couple purchases, but my main bit of news is obviously people may realise that Andy's not here this week. So big shout out to Andy. For those that, I'm not going to go into the implicit details, but for those that may or may not be aware, Andy's been in a road crash. He is okay. He is very badly beaten up. This is not like he's had a bit of an accident. This is potentially we nearly lost Andy. So it's quite serious. So absolute massive love out to Andy. I know he's listening on the show because he's commented already. He said he got a bed bath.
Can't be that poorly then if he's commenting.
There you go. No, I know. He's still
Jesse.
got access to his fingers. So, but yeah. Big shout out to Andy. So we hope you get better soon, bud. And yeah.
Very high on drugs. Oh, that sounds like a wicked time. Love you, mate.
Yeah.
Get well soon.
Yeah.
Big kiss.
He sent us a picture this morning with his nipple out, which we both thoroughly enjoyed. So
Yeah. Before we got to the seriousness, I wanted to point it out straight away in our WhatsApp chat. I was like, your nipple's out, and let's get back to being serious again. How are you?
yeah. So yeah. No, we wish him well, and yeah.
Reminds me of the cake episode.
The cake episode. Ah, yes.
Oh yeah.
Boobs. Boobs.
I think that was just after you had the UK ladies on as well.
Yeah.
Well, we're nothing but consistent.
Yeah,
Exactly. Imperf, walk it off. All the love coming in for Andy Bob.
I mean, Andy, let us know in the chat if you wouldn't mind. Just if you're happy for me to tell everyone what's happened to you. But I don't want to start disclosing stuff about Andy because obviously it's not my place to do.
If
So.
you die, Andy, can I have your nods? I didn't think of that. Oh, did not think of that.
I want his
Fair
LMG.
play, John. Fair play, mate.
Stephen Whitehead with woo. Well
Woo.
done, Andy. You got a push button dispenser, or do you have to ask? And he says push button, which I'm trying to break. So
Excellent.
there you go.
is this the push button that dispenses
Morphine.
Oh yeah, wow.
Hi, Richard. Welcome. Oh yeah, he posted it. Oh yeah, Andy said we can talk about it. So basically, Andy ended up with 3 broken ribs, a punctured lung, spinal fracture, whiplash, and concussion. And then he ended the message on the basis of they also cut off my DEA t-shirt. So I'm not quite sure what he's the most upset about there.
Yeah. What? Yeah.
So yeah.
I wonder if they treat you as a DEA agent, hence why you've been like upgraded to like your own private room, given morphine on tap. It's like, we've got a DEA guy in. We've got to make sure the Yanks will be well pissed off if he dies.
Yeah. Harry says, Andy, take a knee, change your socks, and drink some water. You'll be fine. Love you, buddy.
Fair play.
Grey Fox says, Lance sounds great. Almost ASMR with that mic set up.
Ooh, thank you.
There you
Go me.
go. So yeah, and
That's
other than
what it
that,
sounds like always.
Yeah, regardless of the microphone, it's just really creepy.
It's not a filter. That is his voice.
so that's the only real news I've got. Other than that, I bought some more of these Night Eyes cam locks. So these are the sort of self-tensioning cam lock. My plan is to use these in accordance with the Dynamocord I bought, so that I can use. Basically, I can create a tighter guy line for my basher setup.
Andy's just commented. That's very, very cool, by the way. I want to get a couple of them. Andy just commented, I haven't got
that's
my
fine.
own room. Andy, if that's the case, I've got a game we could play. I want to see how many fellow patients you can get watching the live between now and the end of the show, and they've got a comment. If they're capable, if they're able to, if they're able-bodied enough to look us up, that would be fun. There you go, mate. You've got a mission whilst you're in hospital, and see if you can pull it out of the bag.
Yeah, so anyway, I bought some of those. I also bought a little Write in the Rain notepad cover, which was very exciting when Amazon delivered it, because it turned out that they didn't deliver the notepad cover. They sent me a little tote bag thing, which is probably not the most clear on there.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry. But
that's
quite a bit
disappointing.
upset by that. So I've sent that back. So hopefully they'll send me the right thing. Other than that, that's it. How about you, Lance? Any exciting news or purchases? I
Yes,
see some What
I
Coffee sitting there in the background.
I got my monthly subscription
That
from What
genuinely
Coffee.
looks like a sponsorship deal right there. I mean, you just had it literally in frame.
No, I did. It arrived late last week or early this week. Yeah, I know. Yeah, to me, but yeah. So I got a huge box of coffee sachets to see me through the month, which is going to last me a bit longer because I only really use these out in the truck or out camping or whatnot. But yeah, if you go onto What Coffee and you use the Defiant 20 code, courtesy from the Defiant guys, you'll get 20% off. So yes, I highly recommend this stuff. I have got the Pilgrim's Blend, which is bloody good stuff. So yes, it's essentially a tea bag full of fresh coffee.
He's an airsofter, isn't he?
I believe so. Yes, and he started his own.
I mean, people can be
Ollie
two things.
Watt,
Ed.
yeah.
No, but I'm just interested to know.
Does he just make coffee, or does he do airsoft too?
No, but that's the okay.
You can't make coffee and airsoft. You have to choose one or the other. This is ridiculous. I'm leaving. Sorry, Ed. Sorry, mate.
It's okay.
Anyhow, so I got coffee.
serious.
I'm not being rude.
No, because I didn't actually know, because I'd heard ages ago something about a guy starting this coffee business, but I didn't know what his name was.
There you go.
But then, yeah,
Ollie Watt
I think
is the man who makes wonderful coffee. So yes, I do highly enjoy them. Very nice, mate.
There's
I
also
got
Steve Tarbuck, who I heard set up a good company as well, selling coffee.
Steve Tarbuck.
again.
Carry on.
Roll mat
Nice.
finally arrived from Preppers. I've already cut 6 inches off the bottom of it to use on another project. But good old British Army. It's not a sleeping mat; it's a mat sleeping. So there we go. Good old descriptive terminology from the British Army there. I got a new set of OD green lightweight trousers for a project, and I got my new Desert DPM smock arrive because my other one's too big for me now, so I got one that fits me, which actually came with a couple of insignia patches on, which I looked up. So that is an old Welsh Guards patch, and then that is the 11th Light Brigade from Afghanistan and Iraq. So that was quite cool. So a good friend of mine who's in the Welsh Guards, I'm going to send him this because it's the old style of their new insignia. So little gift on its way to him. And I don't know anyone in the 11th Light Brigade, so I won't be sending that on 21. Just keep it. I think that's it. Oh, I finished my 58 pattern belt kit as well, which is there.
Ah, very nice.
So all good fun. Yeah, that's me done.
Show us the new belt. Show us
The new belt.
The new belt.
I've had this rig for a while, but I've never really used it apart from a Vietnam event I did. But I wanted to use it for like a British 80s SAS type loadout. I don't know if you can see that very clearly. Do my best.
Yeah.
But it's nice and old. It's very odor surplus. It smells incredible. I ASMR the shit out of that. Yeah. So that's the 58 belt kit. Oh. Ooh. All right, enough. So that's my purchase. I had to make it weird. Who knew 58 pattern webbing could be so seductive?
Right, any more news or purchases for anybody? Nope.
No, don't think so.
Nope.
Got stuff to arrive. I've ordered stuff, but it's not here yet.
Couple messages from the chat. JBG Airsoft. Hey lads, just had my patch and stickers arrived today. Thank you again. Not a problem, bud. Hope you enjoy those.
Yeah, man.
Stephen said just wasted 12 minutes on YouTube watching Ed sitting in a bush. Apparently, it was a very tense experience.
Why is it wasted if it's a tense experience?
I don't think it's wasted. I think wasted to I think wrong terminology. Karen says, I'll tell you what, Ed has got very good at hiding as I didn't see him NAE. So,
I didn't.
Was
I
good?
wasn't. I maybe wasn't there. No, I won't say that one.
Marky Mark says, Ed, be careful or you'll end up with another pink dick. I don't know what that's about.
Oh, I don't know.
Ah, that was the gin.
Can't remember the.
That was the gin. Do you remember? I mentioned gin, and Ed sent me a picture of wide-mouthed, wanting me to pour some gin in his mouth, and it turned
Oh,
into
right,
a
yeah,
thing.
Yes.
It turned into a thing.
Right,
I
on
don't
that
know
note,
Ed
that's the
that
end of the
well.
news.
I don't know Ed that well, but I'm still going to make that picture.
Yeah, this is a thing. Sorry.
So we're going to talk about National Airsoft Festival. So for those that don't know, this is a large, probably one of the largest airsoft events in the UK. That
It's
happens.
largest in the world. International.
Is it the largest in the world?
I don't know. Probably not.
I think Border Wars possibly bigger.
Oh yeah, Border Wars.
Yeah, but that's not a festival as such, though, is it?
That's a milsim.
No.
That's quite a milsim for milsimers to milsim on.
So
I'd say this
it's
is
one
a
of the
very big
largest
festival
events.
type.
It's definitely one of the
event,
largest
yeah.
events in the country. The best way to describe it is ultimately it is like Glastonbury or a music festival, except everyone's running around in camouflage with BB guns sort of strapped to them.
Glastonbury for airsofters.
Yeah, the kind of format for the event is a 2-day,
With
3-day event.
Sorry, what did you say? I missed
less
that.
girls.
Yeah.
Less girls. There's a fair few, though, isn't there? The ratio is still
There are.
obviously way off, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
So the format of the festival itself is a sort of 3-day event. Starts on the Friday morning with people arriving. It would seem very early, but we'll get to that in a bit. You then have sort of the Friday to peruse shops. There's a proper sort of festival atmosphere section with various shops, stands, displays. So, for example, frontline events were there. Taig and the team from Cardex Customs. Oh, this is going to get embarrassing because I can't remember them all now. There's loads of people there. Lone Star Tactical were there.
Wolverine.
ASG.
Optics Warehouse.
Yeah.
I'm just trying
So
to
there's
help
lots.
you.
No,
Bob
that's fine.
Pyro Supplies.
Please do.
Whose birthday it was actually
if-
during the week? Happy birthday, Bob Pyro Supplies. It was
happy
his birthday.
Yes, he was there. He was there.
yes.
He also had something stolen from him.
Yes, he did. He had a infantry mortar,
mortar
38mm mortar
Yeah.
tube. What an arse! And actually, that was actually something I wanted to mention in the news segment was that someone actually had some rifles stolen from one of their tents as well at the event, which I think Andy's now circulating some pictures that have been forwarded to him through a chat. So yeah, keep your eyes out for them. Bastards.
Which is unfortunate because I mean that's not I don't think to do with the event itself, but it's just unfortunately when you
No,
get
it's
a
just
large
that you
group
will
of
get
people there,
cretins
you
there,
obviously
won't you? Unfortunately.
Exactly. So yeah, the Friday there's also sort of catering stalls. 01 have a shop there as well, which is kind of like the main feature. There's next to the beer tent, you've got all sorts of stuff there. And then so that's the Friday night. You've obviously got the opportunity to chrono as well. There's sort of music and bits and pieces happening throughout. And then Saturday morning it kicks off with a safety briefing. Or a bit of a safety briefing, then dives into the main activity, which is ultimately the National Airsoft Festival game. So that starts off on the Saturday morning. That runs through all the way to Saturday afternoon, where they stop for the evening. They used to have a night game. That didn't seem to happen this year. And then there's again, music, bits and pieces like that. There's a raffle, which is always good fun. That then has more of the festival vibe kicks in. So there's a lot more sort of live music and sort of drinks available and bits and pieces like that. Then Sunday it kicks off again, ends the day probably sort of around 4:30ish. Sometimes a bit earlier, sometimes a little bit later. It depends on sort of how the game's going. And then everyone goes home. Or you can stay till the Monday if you want to. That's a sort of a relatively recent thing, camping overnight. So, Ed, how did you find Friday? In terms of your sort of getting there,
Friday. I wanted to get there early to try and get a big enough spot for everyone, and I thought I had left early enough. I think I got there about 9 o'clock, so that means setting off at 6:30, which is even for a milsim in the far end of the country is bloody early. So yeah, I thought I was going to be there early enough, but no, there wasn't enough space. So our group was actually split into 2 camps. So it was all right, but yeah, it was fine. It was super busy in the camping area, as you can imagine, but it just seemed everyone was there really early this year. I mean, I've been previous years, and
Yeah.
you can normally arrange
So I've never been. So I can ask both of you this. On that, do you think it would be better for them to actually have designated camping areas for ticket purchasers who's purchased tickets for the entire event? So, like, if you're in a team of 8, do you think there should be like an 8-man pitch section, or
it
like
would be
a
an
designated
admin nightmare. It would
Do you
just
think?
yeah, it doesn't. There is enough space for everyone.
Is it? Do they control the camping area well though, or is it just like there's a huge field there, go and set up in it? Do they actually
It's
say, right,
basically
can you-
that.
They ha-
No,
Yeah.
you're-
So
Well,
do you
well,
think
they
it
do
could
have-
be better managed camping area?
They do have, to be fair, they do have like designated roads, so they put up like little flags, and you obviously don't camp on those because that's where you're going to drive. But apart from that, there's not. But there is space. It's just the further you go out into the field, the further you have to walk back to the safe side. So it's not. If you want a good spot, you just have to get there early. Really
So
early.
this is the thing. This was my. I don't have a lot of bones of contention because I love NAE. I've been going since 2015. I'm just checking because I've got all the patches that you get from the events
That's
up on the
hardcore.
wall there. So the previous years has been less busy, and I don't know if that's numbers or anything like that, but from sort of the last couple of years, it's been getting a lot busier. And I think part of the problem is that people get there early and they cordon off vast swathes of the campsite. So people will rock up and they've got like, various sort of tape or like poles or bits and pieces that they've got a string between. So they turn up and they go, right, we're going to have this area. And then you get, a few of those groups doing that. And then you end up getting just pushed further and further back. So this year I actually left at around 5:30 to get down there I think I was arrived at about 9. The gates were meant to open, I believe, about 8:30. Apparently, loads of people had rocked up early, so they'd opened the gates early. So by the time I got there, I had to camp at the back of the campsite. So that's how quickly that filled up. And I think that was my only bone of contention because I've really tried to make the effort to get there early to kind of secure not a massive pitch, but just a bit more space.
Can you go Thursday evening?
I'm not sure. So I spoke to one of the marshals and they said it was very quiet on the Thursday. So whether some people do or not, I'm not sure about. But
Wonder if you could rock up on the Thursday and just sort of rough it for the night in the back of the motor the Friday morning. So at least you're actually in the area code. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Might be worth it for next year, perhaps.
So that. It's not really a thing.
I mean, how far a walk is it
do
from?
any
If
differently.
say you had to set up like at the back of the
It's not a
camping
far
area,
walk.
how far
It's
would the
an-
walk be to the?
No.
I mean, in some ways, if you've got like a group of you, is it better to set up out the
airsoft.
back so you've got more space and you're a bit away from the crowd? And do you know what I mean? I'd sooner that than being in amongst it, or I'd sooner be like, I'd sooner walk an extra 5 minutes and have a bit more peace and quiet away from the
It's an
cretins.
airsoft kilometre. It's a real 400 meters. So it's
Oh
not-
right, so that's nothing then.
Yeah, it's not very far.
It's not that.
Oh,
bad.
well,
No.
oh, that's okay then. Cool.
Yeah. From my perspective,
see,
it's
it
not
does-
so much the distance you've got to walk. It's just you want to have enough space that the people you want to go with, you can all camp together. I think I think that's a fair point. So.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
The only other thing I would like to specifically talk about is the toilets. So last year's toilet situation was horrendous. We've obviously talked about this on the show last year. There were photos flying around with piles of toilet coming out of the toilet, as if people had sort of given up with trying to go in the bowl and just sort of squatted over the top and created a bit of a mound. People were having to leave site to go and use toilets at the local services and the like.
Mount Shitterist.
Yes. So, from my understanding, they've changed their provider of the toilets this year, and I must say that the public toilets were a lot better. However, what I would say is there seemed to be a heck of a lot more private toilets, which it was very noticeable there were a lot more private toilets. Now, whether I was just attuned to that or not, I don't know. But I definitely was struggling to find a public toilet. Where we'd camped was way back on the back of the campsite. And I know that I was having to walk a good 5 minutes just to use the loo, which again, not a major problem.
Biscuits
But-
Brown is your friend, man.
Yeah.
Just bind that up for the
All
weekend.
the woods.
Just deal with
The
it.
woods.
All the woods.
Yeah,
Or
all the
bag
woods.
it. Just bag it.
Yeah, it's been
Not,
back.
so, not. I'm not condoning that, by the way. If the National Airsoft Festival is watching,
Yeah, don't
But
don't
you-
poo in the woods.
Yeah, but they can't
But I-
stop you snapping one off in a bag
I'm
and,
just
and
saying, just
tying it
don't
off
go
and
in
putting it in
the
a bin
woods.
liner. Yeah. And your hole's got to be at least a foot deep. None of this scratching the surface and just like putting some leaves down on top
Just
of it.
don't poo in the woods. Not at the National Airsoft Festival.
Who would say that?
Shit in a bag, tie it off. There you go. Take it home with you.
So yeah, I mean, I think from a camping perspective, that would probably be my only gripe. I mean, there's a lot of good things as well. They've got 3 different sections for the camping. So you have a kind of louder camping, there's normal, and then there's quieter camping. So you've obviously got the opportunities that you can pick how.
What did you
noisy
guys
wanna
opt
be.
for?
Just falling over
Well,
outside my
we
room.
didn't have enough. We were in normal camping.
Normal
Yeah, I was in
camping.
the same.
Nice. Were you
And I
close
just
to each
wanna-
other? Did you get to rub shoulders in
No.
the camping area?
We bumped into each
We
other at one
mingled.
point where we
We did mingle.
We did, didn't we? We're I'm gonna get Invicta Airsoft. The owner of Invicta Airsoft was there, and I must say he has the best camping setup. He rocked up with a full because he's a fireman apparently. I mean, I only met him this weekend, so Ed, by all means, correct me because I think you know him better. But he literally rocked up with like this fire welfare unit truck,
Amazing.
offloaded the crate, and he's got like this full air conditioned cabin.
That's
It is a
cheating.
cab- but the what's really cool is I've got a video of it. The vehicle has like a hydraulic mechanism thing that lowers it off the truck and just dumps it on the ground. So he literally drove up, and within 2 minutes, his tent was set up. Basically, his cabin was set up. So that was pretty cool. And everyone
play.
was looking. Everyone was watching, which is exactly what he wanted.
me. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Fair play. Okay, so camping, toilets, all good. All seems good. Arrivals, everyone arrived okay. What about the actual main festival zone then? What could you sort of expect from that?
I'm
If,
liking this interview style that you've got going.
Do you like it? Do you like it?
For the end here? Go on, Mike.
Okay, so the festival area itself, you've got a little sort of boot fair section. They've kind of segregated that off this year into its own little area. I think it's quite a good idea. Previously, it was almost like people were just sort of setting up on the main route. So you'd have like people come and camp on the main path down, and they'd just be kind of getting their wares out there. Having the little sort of boot fair section on its own nearer the rest of the shops and things, I think was quite a good idea, because it meant that you could kind of peruse all the shops and all the boot fair stuff at once, rather than having to kind of wander around the campsite seeing who had stuff for sale. There was
a
one
bit
shop
cramped.
owner that wasn't there this year.
I would mention
yeah.
that that bit was a bit cramped, though. It seemed like
Yes.
there wasn't quite enough space for every. But I don't know.
Yeah.
It looks.
Yeah,
more
I mean, I think in
professional,
terms of
though,
the number
than
of shop
that
owners, you're
little
right.
way.
There was clearly more shop owners for the boot fair bit than they'd kind of figured, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, so there was a
Kydex
boot sale
Customs
segment
taking
as
up
well
all
then
the
that people
space
could
with their
bring.
big
Yeah.
tent.
Oh, that's cool. Kydex Customs with a massive tent, they have a big marquee.
They always joke about how they get the biggest tent, which is true. They do.
Fair.
They do get the biggest
Fair
tent.
play.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's for housing all that quality equipment they produce, obviously. Pictures I saw of the bar area now that looked quite cool, but it didn't look mega busy in the bar area from all the photos. Was that? Did you go up there in the evening and listening to the bands and stuff? What was that like?
Yeah, it's different times of the day. So, I mean, when you've got the main airsoft playing, obviously you've got a lot more players. And bear in mind, there's like 3,500 people that book onto this event, and then you've got other halves and bits and pieces that sort of tag along to that. So yeah, I mean, when the airsoft's not on, obviously people either have the opportunity to go into the bar area or the camping. I'll see if I can dig out a picture of sort of when it's at its busiest. But I mean, myself, I didn't really stick at the bar too much. I don't know what your activities were, Ed.
Yeah, definitely pint after the game, and then Friday night actually was the only time we spent the whole night in the bar. and then Saturday not so. I was just
Reasonably
pooped on
priced on the
Saturday, I
drinks
was
and
just-
stuff. Did someone say
Yeah,
last
it
year
was
was quite expensive,
five-
the drinks there, or?
$5.10 for a pint of San Miguel, I think. So
Oh, it's okay, sort of pub prices then. That's not too bad.
yeah, it's pub prices.
Cool. What about queue times and sort of like any food, like the food court and things like that? Like, was it like a massive wait for food, or was there plenty of vendors for getting your scran?
The queuing was a problem it's a problem every year, but it's not like they can really do anything about it. I mean, the chrono queue is very long, but you actually get there, and they are being as efficient as they can. They've got like 50 booths set up with someone chronoing you. So I don't really see how they could speed that process up.
Mm-hmm.
So you get a load of complaints, but like you hear people complaining about the chrono queue, but I can't think.
It is what it is. You can, you just have to suck it up.
I think to be fair, they've got a really efficient system, but you've got to bear in mind that players rock up with literal wheelbarrows full of riffs that they want to chrono.
They do.
I'm not even kidding. You get full, and it might just be that the teams are all using it or not, but people must be chronoing a good sort of 3 or 4 riffs for the NAE event. I myself had one rifle that I took, so that was what I chronoed, and that's what I used. Yeah, so I was in and out,
but that is a risk.
But then you can go and re-chrono because they run in the chrono throughout the whole weekend.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna bring this up on screen. So this is kind of not necessarily when it's at its busiest, but this is definitely sort of a good representation of the the bar area.
Okay, cool.
Picture's gone.
I didn't see any pictures or the same pictures you've seen, Lance, because all the pictures I've seen are like that. Like it is.
That's cool. I like that. See, that's what I'd be like. That's why I was gutted I couldn't go this year, because I'm very, very keen to go for sort of like the social element and all the music and stuff like that. That really ticks all my boxes. And then obviously a little bit of camping with the guys, which would be good.
So I just want to give a special shout out. This chap here, not him specifically. The owner's not actually there. This is the best stand that is at the National Airsoft Festival, and it wasn't there this year. Because unfortunately the chap is Greek, and I believe he had to dive back home because his house burnt down. From what I heard.
Oh shit!
That might be incorrect, but just a big shout out.
Made it back.
To line Ed's stomach with his Greek kebabs. Yes.
That is my one complaint, is that stall wasn't there. Like, that's a more serious complaint than the chrono queue. Seriously.
Yeah. I mean, I must say, genuinely, the food that these guys serve is one of my absolute favourite. It's one of the reasons I go to the National Airsoft Festival, because sitting out in the sun eating one of the trays that they make for those, just proper banging. And it not being there this year, I found myself sort of drifting aimlessly between different food stands, just going, I don't know if I want a burger.
Brad's just said
it's
the
just not
burrito
Greek.
stand was good.
I didn't try the burritos, to be fair. I was a little bit nervous about having Mexican food in a
dangerous. That's dangerous territory.
Burritos
Camping with not a lot of toilets. That's exactly. I'm just thinking that. Oh blimey!
I mean, the Mexican stand did smell good, but I was just a little bit scared.
No,
I'm
fair
not
play.
gonna lie.
Cool. Nice. So so you've had your Friday evening, your beers, your food, this, that, and the other. So up Saturday morning, I'm guessing, bit of brekkie, chrono. And then I'm presuming it's sort of briefing time before the game kicks off. What was all that about? Where was that held and stuff?
There isn't really a briefing, so it's. I don't really know. I think you sign a disclaimer. I can't really remember, but you sign a disclaimer before you go, and that has all of the rules and safety precautions for the day. So they don't bother trying to tell 3,500 people a safety brief, because people start talking during that. You just can't hear it, even if they're on the loudspeaker. So they just do a don't be a dick rule,
Yeah, blah blah blah, the usual.
And then it's off to the game zone, which actually, to be fair, isn't, I don't think, massively unsafe, because everyone there pretty much has played a skirmish before, at least. unless well, maybe I would say at least 99% of people would have played airsoft before, so they will have heard of Brief.
And so obviously the brief, the non-briefings obviously taking place. How did they get, like, obviously was it Charlie, Bravo, and Delta, or was it just the two teams, or others? Is it Bravo and Delta and others, or something?
Yeah, so there's three factions, which is Bravo, Delta, and others. Delta's meant to be the kind of more Milsim-esque style of players. Bravo, I think, is probably intended being the normal skirmishers, and then I think others is kind of accommodating to the people that just want to rock up and run around in Star Trek uniforms. And
Didn't the others win last year though?
yeah. Oh no, so don't get me wrong. That I think that was the general idea
Right.
originally. I think there's players rock up in whatever they want to wear. There's no camo rules or anything like that.
The ones that don't conform go into the others to either opt for or blue for. Yeah.
That used to be more so. But I think it's all sort of changed now.
Many Deadpools and Lord Vaders running around.
So you can see on the player on screens wearing armbands. So everyone in the various teams is provided with two coloured armbands.
It's like,
so
who is
orange,
that?
Orange is Delta.
Leaning in to
orange
see
is
if
Bravo.
it looks like he's muddied his armband.
It does look like that. I was just thinking the same thing, which is definitely frowned upon. Orange is Bravo, blue is others, and the kind of yellowy lime colours Delta. So it's very obvious, who the players are and what sort of team they're on. So PIDing isn't really that tricky, as long as you can see the armbands. Some people decide to wear the armbands on their legs, which is a little bit harder to identify who they are. But
Would you like me to comment on that? Is that?
Go on, Ed. You comment.
Well, it's the
Yes,
Ghillies.
are we
that
baiting
do
Ed
that.
here? Are we baiting Ed?
It is the Ghillies that do that. To be fair, twice this event I got spotted, and I didn't even ask. They just said, "Yeah, mate, I saw your armbands," because they are massive. They're not like a normal skirmish band. They are like a normal skirmish band is that thick. These are like that. So, and they're bright fluorescent colours, which is really difficult. So if I was hiding in a bush, shoot me if this is illegal. But I would, if I was pointing at someone, I'd kink my arms like this so they couldn't see the bands.
So there you go. You can see all the players on screen now, so you can kind of very easily identify the different colours that they've got. So
Fair play.
yeah, I mean,
Nice.
from a gameplay perspective, do you know what? I would argue that it's probably one of the best organised games for that many players.
Yeah, for sure.
There were a few instances.
What was the sort of the situation then for the like, was there a storyline? Was it just like a set amount of taskings for each faction or objectives? Like, was it ground war or something like that? What was the crack with the actual gameplay itself? Pretty much ground war. Just holding objectives for X amount of time and stuff like that.
So I don't know the what they're called, secondary objectives, but it's basically a large game of domination. So you have to hold certain areas on the field for as long as you can. And that's the game. It works, but it's very hard to actually know what's going on if you're winning. I don't mind that. It feels kind of like a lot of skirmishes that I play at. So yeah.
So once you've held an objective, then do you have to have like a set amount of time to hold that objective, or do you just have to hold it until the end of the day as that faction? Or
I don't actually know. I never played the I never played the objective.
So that's right, Ed. I'll jump in.
Ed.
So the site is about 1 kilometre across. I'm just trying to very quickly dig up a picture. It's about 1 kilometre across, and I think it's about 500 metres north to south. It does vary, which I'll show you the image in a second. But the kind of general gameplay style is that you've got effectively a command post for each of the factions spread across the map, and then you are provided with timed objectives throughout the day. So, for example, you may be told or advised that we've got to go and collect a laptop from a certain location. There might be downed pilots. There may be special missions that you have to go out and do. You can make up your own missions if you want to. So, for example, if you wanted to go and launch an assault on the enemy CP, you're more than welcome to go and do that. So there's a kind of structure there, and you've got a team IC and multiple 2 ICs that kind of sit there to kind of guide the teams and kind of bring a little bit of structure to it. But for the most part, as Ed said, you can just play it how you want. You can stick with that kind of central area of fighting and kind of get involved in the proper pinch point stuff, or you can just go off and do some sneaky stuff on the flanks, which is what I personally prefer to do because it gives you a little bit more maneuverability and you can flank and you can be a little bit more sort of crafty with your gameplay and your tactics. Ed and I at one point bumped into each other, which was quite good. I'll dig out the video of that as well.
Oh, so you were both on the same faction and you were both Bravo, was it?
We were both on the same team, fortunately, because I've been shot by Ed before and I don't want it to happen again.
That's a bit of a touch, yeah.
2.3 joules, mate.
Yeah, don't be like that.
He clocked me right on the nose. Though.
Was that when you were sat on that tree stump at the private site?
Yeah.
Was that Ed or was that Mark
just
Hutchins?
Shot me in the face.
I couldn't remember if that was Hutchie or Ed.
It hurt
No, that was Ed.
because it was Ed.
It did.
It cut me really deep. It actually bruised my heart.
I can't get this photo up quick enough. I apologise. It's also got very hot in here. I might have to.
So is the game over 2 days in, or was it just the Saturday and that's it? Well, when do you find out what factions won?
I know. You only find that out at the end. Yeah. So
at the end of the Sunday. So
I don't know. There probably is an update Saturday evening, but I don't know how you find that out.
Right. Okay.
So they announced that at the raffle. So there's a large raffle that they have. All the players that attend the event are automatically entered with their raffle tickets based on their player number. So everyone's allocated a unique player number, and then they draw the player numbers out of a hat, effectively.
Mm-hmm.
So there's quite a lot of good prizes. I think this year there were a few Spectre Arms rifles or Rifts.
Nice.
As kind of top prizes, and then as the numbers draw through, I think there was a bag. I think somebody won like a bag of goodies, which was quite good. So I mean, there's quite a everyone loves a raffle.
Didn't your pal Ed win the big Viper crate of all goodies and gizmos and stuff like that? That's pretty cool.
I think it was like £1,000 worth of gear.
Wow, that's incredible.
He's a marshal at Invicta as well, which was pretty cool.
Oh, nice. That's good.
So it's like I can't.
Did he get the crate that it all come in, or was it just like, here you go, take all this out and struggle back to your tent with stuff?
I don't know how they transported it back. I think they put it in Andy's cabin from Invicta. But yeah, I don't know what he's doing with all that gear because I mean, I'm
probably still going for it all. I imagine £1,000 worth of kit. That's probably quite a lot of stuff.
Well, he's been playing airsoft like 10 years or something. So he's kind of got it all, but he's grateful nonetheless, and I'm sure he will find good use for it.
Oh, fair play, mate. That's cool.
Mike, you're muted.
Yeah, sorry, I was just trying to find this some bits and pieces to show. This is the map, by the way. So say it's about 1 kilometre across from north to south because the actual orientation is rotated. So from left to right on the map, it's about 1 kilometre across. There's quite a few interesting features as well. They've got a full fort kind of set up like a proper breeze block fort with 2 tiers. You've got a village which is comprising of a whole load of sheds. But I mean, enough sheds that it's, you have to do sort of various clearance through it. There's some chapels. There's a massive hill called Heartbreak Ridge, which is a proper onerous thing to try and take because you are having to fight uphill. And we're talking maybe 1 in 2, 1 in 1 as a slope to try and climb, which is not necessarily the quickest.
That's not the only ridge. So it is a really good map for this because it has these basically valleys, hills, and a lot of it is flat. But then they've got like a really steep part in the middle by Heartbreak Ridge, and then another valley going straight up the other end, and then another valley over there. So you can see it's quite cool because especially if you're sniping like I was, you can snipe from one end of the valley to the other over the valley. It's very cool. You've got like a big field of view. Yeah.
Nice. So ideal conditions for you then, Ed, and your followers
Yes.
of many snipers.
Yes. And
Was it a heavy event for sniping side of things? Was it quite heavy on the snipers, or was it quite even Stevens with regards to like across all three teams?
I don't know. Yeah, probably even across teams. I would say probably 1 in 20 people were sniping. So not that many. There is
Okay.
if you're into CQB, there is a village area which was very popular, especially on the Sunday, which is massive. Although even though it's massive, it just attracted too many people. I think at one point. I think you were talking about this, Mike, before NAF about the nucleus, and it is true
Yeah.
that like once a big firefight gets started, everyone can hear what's going on, and they sort of zombie towards it, thinking I'm going to go and get some kills. And when you actually get there, it's impossible to move. It's just basically 10 guys posing a pathway. Nobody can move, and that is a problem at NAF. And I grant people that is a legit complaint.
So it's like it creates choke points that aren't physical choke points; they're created by the gameplay.
Yeah, I mean, so there's a sort of rhododendron maze for probably 25% of the map, and dotted in the maze are the CQB areas, and that is the zone that attracts the most players, and unfortunately, it can be very stalematey in that place. So, like Mike was saying earlier, you have to really force yourself away from it to try and find a fight going on somewhere else, because there's fights happening all over the site. I mean, do you want to talk about the dead zones, Mike? Like how they work?
Yeah, so there's a variety of dead zones around the map itself. I think there's 7 dead zones. The idea is that anybody can go to any one of the dead zones. Basically, when you're dead, you go to the dead zones and then you come out. And the idea is that you're meant to go back to join your kind of forces so that you are then fighting as a single line. What seems to happen is that people die, they come out of the dead zones and then kind of utilize that as an opportunity to just melt into the background. I've lost my patch. Where they will they'll then start fighting from there. So that kind of creates little pockets of firefights going on, which is interesting.
It does sound a bit.
I mean,
the way you said it there makes it sound like there's no objective, but there is. It's just often the objectives are already taken by one of the teams, and they're completely dominating that area. So the fighting is kind of happening on the outskirts, and you can't see the objective, obviously, but it is there.
And with the rhododendron maze that Ed was talking about there, bear in mind you've got like the main corridors through the rhododendrons, but then people obviously go into the rhododendron bushes as well. So, you haven't just got a pinch point there. You've got a pinch point in the bushes. You've got pinch points further round as the flanks form. So you end up with this just big stalemate issue. And the only way really of getting through that is to throw as many bodies through it as possible.
There were some very cool charges. I mean, I didn't enjoy playing in that area, but whilst I was there, it was quite funny. At one point I was standing on one side of the valley looking at my own team, probably 100 of my own team, running down a valley and trying to get up the other side, and basically nobody making it. It's like, because they're well dug in, but you have to, that's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of good opportunities. If you're more out in the flanks, you've got the opportunities that you can outflank. I just want to show a little clip. Ed and I bumping into each other at the safe zone. So Ed recorded this. So this is one of the safe zones, and this was Ed and I and a chap called George discussing a super secret ghillie mission that we were going to go off on.
Is there no sound?
I didn't play the sound because I don't know what you've recorded sound-wise. I didn't want to play that.
It's just us talking.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry.
All right, yeah. So yeah, it's a good. Like the safe zones are kind of the proper safe zone netting in areas sort of dotted around the map. And from there, you literally, go off and do your own little thing. But there's a lot of opportunities where we went off on that little kind of tasking. We were pushing round, sort of trying to outflank the enemy, just kind of get some little bit of gameplay that we wanted to play, basically. I was providing sort of rear security for Ed and George as we went through. At one point, we came under fire. So to draw the attention, I just stormed forward, firing, ducked right down and started kicking a bush, which drew all the enemy attention. So the bush is just getting lit up. And it gave Ed and George the opportunity to take a few. Yeah. So gave them an opportunity to just take out some of the players as they were shooting at us, basically. So
what was your super duper secret sniper mission then?
That was it. Shake the bush.
That was it.
Operation Shake the Bush. I like it.
Yeah.
Just the three of us. We thought we'd try and see if we could sneak up on the enemy CP.
3 guys, 1 bush.
Yeah, we knew.
We
knew where the enemy CP was, so we thought we'd see what we could do, and it's quite good fun. I mean, for just running around with an M4 and a ghillie hood on, like the Rust camo Viper hood type thing.
Mm-hmm. Great.
I was getting a score. I think I sort of KD of about 28-4, and 2 of the 4 of deaths of mine were my own team shooting me. So
brilliant.
That was just.
Is that because they just had enough of you, or was it just like a blue on blue?
They just basically, I like to try and play quite sneakily and crawl. I spend a lot of time on my belt buckle crawling through the bushes and stuff, and I was getting progressively further forward than the rest of our team, sort of main fire line. And as soon as you start doing that, you bear in mind you're playing with skirmishers, so they're not necessarily. They just see movement and they just start shooting at it.
Yeah.
So I sort of came out the bush with my armband up, kind of like duck winging it out the bush, and still got shot because just people get excited when they see someone that they can shoot at. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Bless them.
A couple of questions that have come in from the chat. TFT Brad, did anyone see our We Love Silly Ghillie flag? So that was quite sweet. There was a big flag flying up above one of the camps,
which Ed didn't dine out on at all.
I didn't see the flag.
Oh, rubbish! You told me how to find you by where the flag was.
Yeah. If you come and find the big Silly Ghillie flag, I'm stood directly underneath it, basking in my own success.
You literally just made that up.
Just in a deck chair, just sat there like that with a little parasol directly under the flag. Fair play, no, nice. That's cool.
TFT Brad also said our lot done Saturday and Sunday full days, then went to Driverwood. Needless to say, we were shattered. I can imagine that was pretty tiring. Terry says how. Sorry, Hedge, what's that?
They wanted me to go to Driverwood afterwards, and I was just how you could possibly do that. I don't know, but yeah.
Terry says, how do you get the end bar on the cot bed?
This has got to stop. This is almost online cyberbullying. This is now.
TFT Brad, what's your guys' experience with the gameplay? What do you think? So I think we've sort of covered that. But I mean, as a whole, Ed, from a general airsoft gameplay sort of out of 10, what would you give it?
I would give it a 8, but you have to really work for good gameplay. You have to think, where am I going to find the good gameplay? Otherwise, it's a 3 if you get sucked into the stalemate middle.
Yeah. I would concur with that.
Fair play, nice.
So Stephen Whitehead said, do they have gear lockers, or will that be coming next year? So there aren't gear lockers. Obviously, you can camp next to your car. So I would advise that if you've got lots of kit there, just keep it in your car, keep it locked up, Unfortunately, there's a certain percentage of our society that are complete dickheads. And if you get enough people at any one event, some of those dickheads are going to filter through and be at that event as well.
It's really annoying that this has become like such a thing people are talking about, because 99% of people don't do that. It's just, maybe just next year if it happens, just nobody talk about it.
So on that subject, you're allowed to leave your vehicle at your camping site. Then you can't just. It's not a case of driving down, setting up, then moving your car to like a main car park. Your actual car is at the camping area. Oh right, okay. So there's So by rights, you should definitely be leaving everything locked in your car, regardless.
Yeah.
I would do that. I would never leave.
I mean, it's a shame that you have to, because ultimately, it'd be nice if we didn't have knobheads.
It's not. Yeah, but thinking about it, it's not like you're at an event that you've been to one of their events before, and it's like 30 aside, and pretty much most of the people on the team, everyone's rifles are going to be left under their bashers or in a gun bag. you're at an event that's got thousands of people at it, I wouldn't run the risk. It wouldn't compute with me to leave my rifles in my tent. They would be locked in my car along with all my other crap. Do you know what I mean? I would never. The only thing that would be left out would be like a sleeping bag and stuff like that. All my other kit would be in the car. That incident shouldn't have happened. Basically, yeah. You know, as crap as it was, the guy should have had that stuff in the car, not in his tent. If that's where it was nicked from, I don't know where it was taken from. Whether it was a tent or whether someone's actually broken into his vehicle, then that's a different subject altogether. But you know, you need to mitigate that risk and just keep it all locked down proper.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the breaking into the vehicle. I mean, you know, there's a lot of gear floating about at these events. So it's not... I mean, as Ed said, we don't want to really focus on it because it's a really negative thing. But it's unfortunate that just, you know, these things get out and then people start to worry about that a little bit more. And that I don't think we need to be worried about it. I think just take a little bit of due care and attention from the get-go, you'll be fine.
Exactly.
So, yeah. Airsoft Cam Man. So I bumped into this lovely gentleman as well. Sniping was very hard work, very overgrown. How did you find it, Ed?
It was. I know where. Nearly said his name there. I know where Cameron was playing. And where he was playing at the start was way too dense. I did find some very good sniping spots. Unfortunately, I think Cameron did not. Although, well, yeah, that's that. You'll see what he's come up with, won't you?
Oh, and Cam Man, I had a chat with Take from Kydex. He is desperate to get in touch with you. He really wants to chat to you about how he can link up with you on certain product ideas and stuff like that. So please hit him up, because every time I spoke to him, he was like, "Oh, have you bumped into him yet?"
we'd met. I think you probably had that conversation before we met. We spoke to Take for almost half an hour.
Yeah, I don't think Take clocked on as to who he was talking to. So.
Oh no, he did.
Oh, okay.
We met him at the end of the event, so Sunday afternoon, I think. So.
Oh, nice one. Cool. All right, fair enough.
So with that then, Ed, that's a nice segue actually. So end of the event, sort of clearing site, camping, packing up. Was it absolute free for all to get out, or was it quite an organised sort of exfil from the festival area and stuff?
No, because people start to leave at about 3:00, I think, because people on the Sunday are not that in the mood, some of them. So you know, you get early goers, and then people stay Sunday night as well. So it's just a slow trickle out.
Fair play.
Yeah,
That's
you
cool.
can pay the extra night for camping, so you can have a bit more. I think there's like a pub quiz on the Sunday night, because obviously it's the bank holiday. So the bank holiday Monday is obviously an opportunity for people to go home then. So I think it's quite, from a social perspective, it's quite good. You know, I would argue that the airsoft is pretty decent. If Ed, what Ed was saying in terms of, you know, you've got to work for it.
I mean, that's you and me, Mike. I do hear quite a few people criticising the gameplay, so be aware that it's just...
But I suppose it's one of them, it is what you make it.
I think people criticise it because they don't play it properly, to be fair. They don't play the appropriate way at the event.
Right.
I think you have to explore the map, but yeah, we've already been through that.
Yeah. So there you go.
Cool. Right. Okay. So highest point, lowest point, and then we'll close off the old NAF debrief, and then just hit some Q&As for a little while. So, Mike, highest point for you?
Of this year, probably. And this is not brown nosing, I promise you. I actually really enjoyed linking up with Ed.
Just the toilet.
No.
Mike took it upon himself to be the toilet inspector for the entire site.
No, there were two particularly high points. Shut up. There were two particularly high points for me. So there was I really enjoyed Ed and I sort of linking up and doing a little bit like sneaky stuff. It was nice to just get out and kind of, I don't know, just play in a slightly different style. Up until then, I hadn't been playing with any other snipers at that event. Working with the snipers, when you kind of do that, is actually quite good fun. I don't mind sitting there for a little while, being a bit sneaky, sort of creeping up, taking your time, trying to get the kill. I do enjoy that. So that was a highlight. And the other highlight for me, it was probably more from a November Foxtrot perspective, but I got the opportunity to go around and meet a load more people, make some good contacts. We've got loads of interesting interviews lined up for the show, sort of in the next few months. So there should be a lot of promising stuff from that as well, basically. So
Wonderful.
we shall
And the
wait
low
and see how
point?
that goes.
What was your low point?
Low point was the kebab man not being there. Genuinely, that really hit me hard. I'm not going to lie. When I found
Mate,
out,
I'll
so I
grant
had
you
to-
that, because when you find a good kebab, it's the best. But when you can't get it, it's just like, oh, god damn it.
I won't lie. I rocked up to the little kind of festival area, and somebody went, "I don't think the kebab man's here." I was like, "No, he's definitely here. He's definitely here." I had to walk around that place twice to confirm it, and I didn't know what to eat for the rest of the weekend because I hadn't brought any food with me, because probably under preparing, but I hadn't brought any food with me because I was planning just to live off kebabs, and it was a real struggle.
fair
I'm
one.
not gonna lie.
So what was your secondary then? What did you resort to then?
Hunter and Scout.
Mhm.
They've been at a number of airsoft events, so they did some pretty decent burgers and bits and
Big
pieces.
shout out
That was
to
really
Hunter
nice.
Scout, second place. Woo,
Yeah.
woo.
Yeah. Whoop, whoop. Wouldn't have got my
No, I mean,
business
to be
if the
fair,
Greek
they-
guy was there.
They were my preferred. So I went there. There was the churro place. They did some nice churros. Highly recommend the churros. I don't think I ate anything else, to be fair.
So you didn't cook anything back at the campsite then? You literally just ate
No,
at
I
the-
didn't take any food with me because I was a moron, basically. I packed
That's
everything
rude.
else.
Can you host a bloody Milsim podcast?
Well,
about
no, the reason
preparation
being,
and planning.
I was for that week basically. I was I'm working towards my chartered engineer status, and I was focusing so much on that. I ended up packing, classic me, packing for NAE at 1 o'clock in the morning before then getting up at 4 in the morning to drive down to NAE.
Oh dear.
So that was why I didn't have any food.
Fair enough. Ed, your high point for the weekend at NAF.
Yeah,
Oh, it's probably. I'm not saying this because it's on the video, but it's probably that video that I made, like that moment that was in the video. It's like, I think about 10, 12 guys pushed up on my bush, and I was almost on my own. So
Good. Couldn't have worded that any worse than you just did.
Funny enough, the title of the video is 12 guys versus one bush. But I wanted to call it 12 guys, one bush, but it wouldn't have passed the community standards of YouTube. So yeah, but yeah, no, that moment was my high point. That was like, you don't often get that at a regular skirmish, and that was just really, it was kind of.
And so what was the outcome of the 12 guys arriving?
Ooh, well, now you're getting into it.
I said
at the end,
arriving.
there was
I
one
said
guy-
arriving.
Okay. There was one guy that was aware that there was someone close, so tried to get into my bush.
Come on, lads, keep it together. Come on.
He was going to step on me. So, well, he was probably a metre away from me, and he was just slowly making his way towards me through the bush. And a guy shot over his shoulder, and he turned around and said, it's in the video, it's like, "Watch where you're shooting, Snoop Dogg." Is a northern accent. Watch where you're shooting, Snoop Dogg. I don't want to get shot in the back of the head. And then I shot him, and yeah, that was it.
Oh, fair. I've
then
got
after
to
that,
be honest. I've not seen
I
this
think-
video yet, so I'm gonna have to go and look for it.
It is quite funny, but yeah, that was the highlight. My low point was, don't know. I think it was probably just the general, and this happens at every NAF, but just the general complaints about hit taking. Like, I don't know if people realise, but when you're in the dead zones together, it kind of brings the whole mood down if everyone is complaining about hit taking. And yet again, this happened. Hello?
Yeah, no, we can hear you, mate.
Yeah, we're still
So
here.
excuse my ignorance then. So I'm guessing this dead zone is a zone for the dead players to go to. It's not like some part of the game that is called the dead zone.
Yeah. They're literally, they are.
Excuse
little,
my ignorance.
No, you know the green netting, like the impact protection netting.
Yeah.
They're kind of 7 or 8 areas across the site where it's sort of fenced off, and they are designated dead zones. The equivalent of like skirmish days, you have to go and sort of tap a post or something like that. You have to go and sit.
Right.
in those
Okay. So it's
zones
like a
for sort of
regen
5 minutes.
position sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Okay.
then
Cool.
for all the teams, so that's how it differs. From
Because that's what I was when Mike brought that map up and it had like the skull and crossbones. I'm guessing that's those locations there.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, one tip. I think we did cover this previously, but if you go to NAE, if you're going to be there next year, I will be there next year because it's a cracking event. And whilst there's a few negatives, I think you get that with any event.
I'll be there next year. I've already got the green light. No, there's no clashes of calendars. I'm there. So that's already been sorted.
If you're planning with a team to kind of we're gonna move around here and sort of assault this position, or whatever, like just for the sake of making sure you stay linked up with your team because it is such a big site and you will, there's so many players, you will never find people again. Just go. We're gonna meet at that dead zone. If we all die, we're going to that dead zone because the number of times that I've been to the event before and people get lost. And then, I mean, I went with, there were 4 of us this year. A good portion of the time, I didn't see the rest of the guys that I went out with. We had comms and everything like that, but there's just so much going on. There's so much of a site. You've got so many players.
What's the comms situation like? Is it good coverage for comms or is it a bit hit and miss like most places?
It's pretty good. It's pretty good, to be fair. We're on the licensed frequencies. So these are the simple UK license, which I'm not going to go into it, but anyone with a bad thing should technically have. There are PMR frequencies kind of allocated. So I believe channel 1 was allocated for a Bravo command. So if you wanted to get instruction from the Bravo command, you could do so. And then channel 2 was allocated as a Bravo team chat. So never went on that. I could only imagine it's probably like a Reddit server comment section.
Just absolute
people going,
chaos.
Yeah. So we were on the dedicated frequencies, and it was absolutely fine. To be fair, we didn't have any crossover with anybody else, so didn't have a problem with that. But
Fair play.
Did you run comms, Ed?
Yes, we ran comms.
How did you find yours?
It was good on the Saturday because we were all kind of really determined to link up. Like we didn't have dead zones as the rendezvous point. We had like points on the map where we decided. Oh, and I forgot to mention it. Really important. The Ares Alpha app. Do you know about this, Mike?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they had that at NAF, and it was brilliant. Like you never had to worry about losing anyone because like you could just pull out your phone and see exactly where they were, and the phone is kind of like a compass thing. I don't know how it works, but you can point it towards where they are and walk in that direction, and you will find people.
That's cool.
Oh,
was that just for your little? Was that for your little unit, or was that for like the whole Bravo
team?
And
you have you have a QR code for just your squad, and then it's done. It's really simple.
That's cool.
One thing I would add, like on a high point, was one Andy, the guy that had that thing set up in the safe zone. He was on our squad, but he was on the others because me and him were playing our own little game where I had to find him, and I did find him, and it was brilliant. And that is the next video. It's all about me finding Andy. So, yeah.
Oh, okay. Look forward to that.
Yeah. So
excellent stuff.
That
Right. So
Ed, where can people just quickly? Where can people find your channel, Ed?
It's just Silly Ghillie on YouTube.
There you go.
Silly Ghillie. Yes. Right. So that's NAF wrapped up. I think that's a rather bit more successful than last year. I'd like to think from the comments, which is always good. So we jump into Empire Rising 2.
Very, very quickly, there's just a few comments I just want to bring up.
Yeah.
Philip said I probably got shot because the fact I was facing the enemy might have been a hint. To clarify, I wasn't facing the enemy. I was facing away from... Sorry, I was facing the enemy, but I wasn't facing my team. I had the armband very clear to my team, so they should have identified me and not shot me.
Yeah, Philip.
Never mind.
God.
TFT
You weren't
Brad.
there, man. You weren't there.
Yeah,
TFT
Phil.
Brad, we was driving down. It only took a 3-minute walk. Toilets was pretty good this year, to be honest. So yeah, massive improvement on the toilets this year.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Bumped into Mark there. It was quite a good opportunity actually, I say, to meet a few random people because you do just bump into people really randomly in like the dead zones and just sort of wandering around. Because whilst it's a big event, because everyone's kind of in the same sort of area, you could kind of spot people and you're like, oh yeah, hi, how are you? So he said, thanks for the patch. And does Lance still want a DPM NI patrol pack?
No, Mark. Thank you very much, sir. But I have got one now. So yeah, stand down, sir. Stand down. All good there.
Mark, I wouldn't mind one if it's still going. If Lance doesn't want it anymore.
Yeah, I'll have two. Why not? Few later on to the show
and
this
then-
evening.
Kieran, so Kieran was one of the guys that I was there with. We've been going together, yonks basically. So I've got this little group that we've been going with pretty much since 2015. Kieran, sort of one of those people, and he said my high point was when it started to rain because he doesn't deal with the heat well.
No, fair play.
So it was
Cool
quite
off, sir.
refreshing when
Cool
it
off.
rained. It was quite nice. So
Very nice,
there we
very
go.
nice. Evening, Connor. Not long time no speak, sir. Thanks for coming along. Appreciate that. And I think Adventures of Zulu who's checked in. All good, all good.
So, Empire Rising 2. Lance, I'm going to throw it over to you and Ed, because I know that you guys... Ed was Empire Rising 1 winner, or one of the pairs.
One of the winning
was-
pair, yep.
One of the two... Yeah, one of the winning pair. That's a better way of saying it. The one last year, or the last event. So, Lance, you're obviously helping Kenny from Empire and Empire Events organise that. So, what can we expect? What is Empire Rising 2?
So Empire Rising 2, obviously, it's the second formatted one-day event for sniper pairs to pit their skills against each other in a gorgeous 90 acres of private woodland. An amazing, an untouched, unspoiled site. By that I mean it's not like a pallet wood city or anything like that. It's literally undulating land, natural cover, varying vegetation. It's a real challenging site. It's perfect for sniping. It's got some real open sections. It's got some tight tunneled sections that are naturally formed through tree fall and canopies and stuff like that. It's going to have similar objectives to the first event, with some added twists and bits and bobs. There will be some NPC characters on site who will be there to hinder your progression as a sniper pair. They won't be aligned or with any pair in particular. They are there for their own merits. So they are there just basically to give you a hard time as snipers. It's on the 14th of October this year. There will be camping available on the Friday night, and obviously camping available on the Saturday night after the event, which will be a social barbecue in the evening and all high fives and back slaps and big hugs and tea and biscuits for the winners and things like that, which is always good. And I believe
tea and biscuits as well. But, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, everyone gets tea and biscuits, regardless. Everyone needs that fuel, and obviously that will be, I believe, the barbecue and the social bit in the evening is obviously included in the ticket pricing, which I need to clarify with Kenny, but I'm pretty sure that's what the deal was last time, so I don't see why it would be any different this time. Parking wise, it's about 30-second dash to your car from the camping area, so there's no dramas there. It's a fully secured site. It's fully fenced. It's fully gated. Obviously, there'll be staff on site 24 hours a day. To make sure everything's tickety-boo. There'll be toilets on site. There's no electricity. There's no water. There will be water supplied, but do bring your own water as well, and make sure you bring a power bank or anything you need for charging up, bits and bobs, head torches and stuff like that, because there is no electricity. There's no buildings on the site. It's completely natural. But yeah, from a gameplay point of view, from the feedback we got from the first event, it was phenomenal. Didn't have any upsets whatsoever. It was like an awful lot of the guys was like, not done anything like this before, want lots more of it. A lot of the props went down very well, the body and things like that. That was very well received. Ed, I think you're one of the very few that actually found it out in the game zone. I mean, from your point of view, because I wasn't playing, I was NPCing and bringing out the Amdram, jazz hands and stuff like that. From your point of view, how did you find it for the first event? So obviously to give people an idea of the one that's coming up.
Yeah, good. On the body, I would say that I didn't know it wasn't real until I poked it with my rifle. I genuinely thought it was real because the head part, which is the hardest bit to do, was in a bush, and the legs. Yeah, it was. I couldn't tell the difference. Anyway, so
it was phenomenal.
It
really was phenomenal.
Yeah. There was another. I was going to say something.
Because I positioned it, and it's when like you have a terrible dream where you think something's chasing you, but you can't get away from it. I positioned it in that, and I put all the props out, and I was like walking away, and I just kept on sort of glancing back, like it's going to get up at any minute. It's like really quickly got back to my truck. It's like I'm inside, lock the door. Yeah, it's one of them. Yeah, I was quite impressed with that. Yeah, all good stuff. go from a gameplay perspective then, Ed. What can people that are potentially going to join on for it sort of expect to find out in the gameplay?
Well, these games have kind of like this particular game of snipers only isn't actually a new thing, and there have been other event companies that have done them. I didn't actually play in any of those, so credit to them for kind of coming up with the idea. But it is a really cool idea. I think it's based on some of the training that the snipers do in the real world. I don't know if that's completely true, but basically it's an orienteering map, so it's a huge map. I think it's about 148 acres, which is how many players there are. Well, no, maybe 14 players. That's massive. So you've got to think of it not as a skirmish at all. It is very much like slow stalking, not much firefights going on at all. Your ammo limit is 50 BBs for the whole day. And actually, I think that's too many. I think they need to slightly reduce that. But yeah, that's up to Kenny. But what was I going to say? So yeah, so you've got to place. The idea is you have to be sure that you're going to hit someone when you take the shot, and that's one of the key aspects. And that's to get points. There's two things. So there's getting kills and collecting the dog tags, and getting to certain points in the map. And they're 50-50. So killing people is a legit strategy to win the game, as is getting to all the places on the map. So that was good to see. I think that's quite popular with snipers as well, because a lot of the Milsim events that snipers go to, they often end up being put on reconnaissance, and I'm sure people enjoy that and everything. But for me, I do prefer just shooting people quite a lot. And so to have like a clear objective of literally just getting kills for airsoft sniping is actually really
with that in mind then, Ed, obviously, because you're a very well established sort of airsoft sniper, if you like, from your skirmish days and the Milsim events that you've done.
He?
Yeah, well, he's apparently so I've heard.
Yeah.
Obviously, going into this first event, then was it a different? Did you get a different feel for it because obviously you knew you were going up against sort of like another 5 pairs of snipers that were of not too dissimilar tactics and how they play their game? Did you feel a bit more of a nervous situation going into it, thinking, yeah, I've really got to pull my A game out for this one, because it's not like it's stag parties on a Sunday or like other skirmishes and things like that. It's actually going to be.
It's not just stag parties.
I'm actually good. No, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. That you're going to an event.
Birthday parties as well.
Birthday parties too. But like, you know what I mean. You're actually going to an event that has been designed specifically for people of your craft. Do you know what I mean? How did that? What was your sort of like mindset leading up to that?
Well, all of the players that turned up were, like, I would say, experienced snipers. Like, they had all the kit. I mean, I don't want to say that to put off people from trying, even if you haven't really done sniping before, because there were some people. Both of you are muted. Sorry, I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Is it?
Did it on purpose, mate. You crack on.
It's like the music. You know, the background noise stops and you just hear your own voice, and it's terrifying.
I'm sorry.
No. What was I going to say? Don't get put off by the idea that people are experienced snipers. If you haven't done sniping before, it's very much still open for you, and there is a chance to win. I wouldn't say it does sound like I think I'm making it sound more competitive than it actually is. Like, we kind of all knew each other, apart from one pair that came, so it was very a friendly atmosphere. So yeah, I wouldn't think of it too much as a competitive event. And Lance, you were mentioning, do you have to bring out your A game? I wasn't really thinking that. I was more thinking, I want to shoot Dan. Dan's a sniper mechanic, Dan, and if I do that, I've won the event in my book. So that's the kind
that is a Silly Ghillie win.
yeah, that is what it was like for me. But yeah, I would definitely.
I mean, so with
encourage-
that, then I mean, like you say, it's not all about like being super duper sneaky beaky. It's very much like the games can be won in a different manner of ways. Like from not, you could spend the entire however many hours you're out on the ground pursuing other teams and getting kills, or you could be going around completing all the objectives that are out in the game zone, or a combination of the two things. You know what I mean? There's different avenues that you can go down to win points, to obviously to try and win it. I mean, about the dog tags.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a great little add-on for each team.
I don't know. Yeah, I think Kenny came up with that idea. I think the dog tags. Oh, and I'll mention the ammo as well. So when you shoot someone, you're given at the start of the day 10 dog tags, and if you shoot someone, that person has to hang on a tree their dog tag, and there's trees everywhere. You'll find it. You'll see them walking over and placing it. So the idea is you then have to get to the dog tag to collect it, but of course everyone's in pairs. So if your teammate gets taken out, you can kind of camp that area.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, it's 2v1, but you're staying still, and you have these two guys coming into you. So it's a very different way to play Airsoft. I've certainly never played a game like it before. It's probably not like a mil. I wouldn't describe it at all like a milsim or whatever you define milsim as, or whatever.
We had this conversation on the first event. It's very hard to pigeonhole it as a milsim or a skirmish day or a battle sim. I don't think we found a word for it to describe this event, this sniper dedicated event.
It's more. It feels more competitive than a milsim because it is all about like getting points ultimately. There's no storyline and there's no role play. Although the NPCs did do a bit of role play. But yeah, I think you just have to describe the event too. But it stands on its own two legs, if you like.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's very much on its own. Like you've got milsim skirmish days, and then you've got the Empire sniper event. It's very much off to the right sort of thing. Of this can't be pigeonholed. It's very good.
Just to
to
chip in from my perspective, so I was the TL for the NPC team last event. I want to say last year. It wasn't last year. Last event, and I believe I'm doing the same for this event as well. So there is an NPC team. Basically, the NPCs are, I would say, relatively seasoned milsimmers. So I don't want to say like we're really good in any way, but the idea being is that we've got a little bit of team tactics and stuff going on, so we kind of have that was quite good fun from that perspective. But seeing how the ghillies and the snipers and that were kind of engaging with the event, I don't think anyone really should think that they can't do it because they haven't got the right kit. Or, ultimately, if you've got a fairly decent sniper rifle, I think that's the main thing you're going to need, really.
Because that's in the law. That's in the rules.
Rifle,
it's a bolt action sniper and a sidearm, a pistol of some description.
Yeah,
not machine pistol or MP7.
I would say relatively competent, or at least confident that you're going to be able to get some shots because you don't have the ammo count to sit there and kind of walk them in or anything like that. So the only thing I would say is that if you've got a relatively decent rifle from that perspective and a little bit of concealment, you're probably not going to have a bad event. There's a really good social aspect as well. There's the other snipers and bits and pieces there that you can have a chat to.
Well, this is it. Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you are new to it, you're rubbing shoulders with a lot of experienced snipers as well. That'll be more than happy to have a chat with you in the evening around the campfire with a couple of beers and a burger and sort of like trading secrets and things like that about what they do and how they make stuff, and that I'm sure they'd be more than happy to do that. Like I said, it's bringing more people into the sport on a larger scale of not just milsim, but actually specifically snipers and stuff like that. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. Especially from Kenny's point of view, it's all about bringing people together for the social. So
if you've got a sniper rifle, just quickly, if you've got a sniper rifle and you've got some level of concealment and you want to shoot me in the back of the head, book on.
Absolutely, yeah. Make sure that diary's clear. 4th of October.
if you turn up early on the day and you have a problem with your sniper or you think it's not shooting right, you'll get like 10 very experienced guys there, like getting it shooting right, and a lot of them have a spare parts bag, and a lot of these platforms are cross compatible anyway. So I don't want it at all to sound like a sort of experienced airsofters game. It is very much. I think there was 2 guys there that had only started airsoft about 3 months ago. So, and they did really well as well. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, like I said, at the end of the event, nobody come back with a frown. Everyone come back with a smile. Absolutely exhausted and boiling hot, but they come back with smiles on their faces, and they'd all had a brilliant experience. So that's exactly what you want from organising it. So yeah,
Pegasus
fantastic.
says so Pegasus was also on the NPC team. He said the kid and his dad duo did really well last time, and I think it was something new for the both of them. So,
I think it was. Yeah, you're right, mate. Yeah, absolutely.
Tim Brown said these are an amazing event. Well done. These are an amazing event done loads. Best airsoft event I have done and still done. Most BBs I fired was less than 15 for a weekend. This was with 6mm hunteering. So where is this and what's the price?
So the site, I'm not 100% sure on the price. Ed, do you know what the price is from booking on previously?
I can double check.
I think...
it's located. I mean, I won't give the location out because it is a private site. It's not an airsoft site. It's a private site. So it is located near to Lingfield Racecourse, just for giving a bit of a geographical location for your travel times, etc. and things like that. So it's about 10 minutes from Lingfield Racecourse. I'll give that as a bit of a broad drop pin. And like I said, it's a gorgeous woodland. It is absolutely stunning woodland. It's got some vehicle track. There you go, £60. It's for that event.
A single ticket.
For a single ticket, yeah. So for your pair, it'd be £120 for the pair. It's a fantastic event. It's a fantastic location. Like Ed said, it has been done similar before, but with all these new twists and stuff on top of it.
The other one we forgot to mention, which was really cool, was the ammo, picking up ammo. So Kenny had put. So you tell him what weight BBs you're going to be running. So 4.5s or 4.8s, and then you get on the field. There is a chance to pick up a bag of 10, I think, 10 of your ammo, and it's labelled Silly, or mine was labelled Silly.
Yeah, it's in a little jiffy bag, and they'll be in an ammo crate somewhere.
I think the next game might have a slight change to that, and you'll start with less ammo, but there'll be more chances to collect more ammo on the field once you've completed certain objectives and stuff. So
there is you'll get a map and it'll give you a rough area. It won't pinpoint where objectives are, but it'll give you like a larger circle. So if you imagine that map there, it will give you a bigger circle. Within that is one of these objectives, and it could be anything. It could be retrieving some intel. It could be encountering some NPCs and getting intel from them, or it could be weapon serial numbers. Many different options that we've got for the next one coming up. So, but obviously within the last one, it was there were some ammo crates at an ammo store, and obviously you can crack that 50 cal ammo can open, and there was a little pack of BBs in there. There was also a supply drop which had some few treats in there to keep you going. Each location as well, which had an objective, also had a couple of crates of water, so you guys could replenish your water once you got to the location. And obviously at the main camping area there was more water as well, because obviously it was a very hot day. And the old bush Wookiees wearing all their bits and bobs. So we just had extra water everywhere. Yeah, it was good. Yeah. So we kept on top of that. Nobody went down with dehydration, so everyone was listening to us in the briefing. Just keep drinking. Just keep them fluids going in. So, but yeah, no, I hope to get some people, some new pairs booked on, which will be really good to see.
One thing I was going to add, someone was asking about ghillies. I am going to the next event. I don't know if I'm going to be playing there. I think I'll probably be there for the social. But if anyone needs a ghillie, I'm just saying now, I can definitely bring a ghillie. I've got loads of them crafted up. They're good for that environment as well. So if you need that, just send me an Instagram send me a message on Instagram. It's there. It's under my little name there, Silly __ Ghillie. So yeah.
There we go. Perfect. Yes, absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah, don't be shy if you've not got all the kit required, because it is, like I said, it's not a mil sim. You're not expected to be humping all your kit on your back out into the field and setting up everything. It's a very social camping area, and then you'll go out and do the game, and then you'll come back to the area. So you can, if you're using civilian camping tent kit, that's fine. It's absolutely fine. You're not expected to have mil spec camping equipment. That's not required at all.
It is a long game though.
It is a long game, so you need to prepare. Whether you have a crafted day sack or a camouflage backpack just to keep some additional water in or some snacks, and you can go to ground. I mean, it's quite cool. I sort of imagine doing that myself and be like being out in the field, going into cover, getting some snacks down. You know, the chance of someone creeping past, and I think that's pretty cool.
We had that with the NPCs. We were in a rhododendron bush munching away, and all of a sudden we heard like quiet voices coming towards us, and it was the NPCs. And we'd taken all of our ghillies off to cool down. And we just stood stock still in this bush with like food in our mouths, watching these.
Oh, brilliant!
Very
cool.
I will. One word of warning for if anyone's going to do it again that did it last time. Firstly, please do, because it was. I really enjoyed it, and I was only in the NPC team, so I believe the NPCs are having a little bit more bite to them this year. From my instructions so far, so bear that in mind. We won't just be sticking to the past necessarily.
Yeah, the NPCs, the team out on the ground are going to have a bit more bite to their bark, should we say? The bite and bark will be a bit more 50-50 this time round.
I completely agree with that.
And we've got unlimited ammo as well.
Well, in the sense that we can go and resupply rather quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we hope to get a few more people booked onto it, because it's a cracking event. It really is. Yeah. One that I might take part in myself.
Tim says, love the sound of the twist dog tags. Good idea. BB finding a good shout and using people to make it harder. What if you want to do the NPC, guys? Is the price the same? So the NPC team is invite only. It's only because the actual event is designed for the snipers. So the NPC, we just need to make sure basically that we're providing a good enough event for. I'm not implying that people aren't good enough, but just we are not there as players. We are there to facilitate the event. We're basically the DS team.
We're there to basically it's basically a DS team. So. Absolutely,
Who's now got more bite and is having more fun.
Well, I don't know. But yeah, no, it's
hard. I'll tell you what, it was hard bloody work, because we had to wander around in fucking full plate carriers and all of that, and it was so hot.
It was proper hot. It was a hot day.
No, Defiant Events just said allow NPCs to
use one thermal between them.
So we had this discussion. Thermals are not allowed. If you're thinking of bringing a thermal as a sniper, I know it would be cool, but it would be just so unfair for that pair, and to just kind of balance things out, because it's a slightly more competitive game. I get that it's like in Milsim, it doesn't matter, because in the real world, yes, one side has night vision. The other side
it's to try and keep it as a level playing field as possible.
Yeah, but we were talking about that. It would be cool, because obviously the thermals work really well on ghillies. But yeah.
With the NPCs as well, trust me, we didn't need them. We could see some of these ghillies moving around. We had to. No, I'm not saying all of them, but there were certain situations. There were certain situations where, because we were told not to kind of
dive and dodge, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, we were told not to actively start engaging unless we were kind of shot at, because it was a kind of general ROE. So it was almost like proper video game characters, and that we're sort of just wandering around going, "Oh, I can't see anybody over there." Walking up the hill, literally at one point, we're walking up the hill, and you could just see this like hill of ferns. I kind of the main valley, Lance, as you know.
Yeah,
like
big valley, yeah.
Field of ferns, and there was a guy proper just squatted in the middle of these ferns. You could clearly tell he was there, because he didn't look anything like the background that he was in.
Chose a poor place to go to ground, but that's it. It will test you. It will the site will test you. You know, there isn't any one ghillie suit setup that would facilitate the entire site. You know, there's many different types of vegetation there. You got like Mike just said, you've got ferns, you've got low-lying brackens, you've got rhododendron, you know, you've got swathes of chestnut and silver birch and very tall standing stuff. So So yeah, I mean, if you've only got a ghillie set up for autumn or for the fall or a winter setup,
snow.
Apart from snow, there is a place for you at this location, and you can work around the map with whatever color scheme that you've got. You can really put it to your advantage.
Yeah. Ed, can you bring my high vis ghillie when you're there? Because I want to get that back.
I'm sorry. I should have brought it to NAF. I will.
That's right. That's fine. Defiant says, sounds somewhat similar to our Machiavellian Recce events where our Op4 role players have to pretend that they haven't seen an OP. Exactly that. But this time around might be slightly different.
Absolutely, yeah.
Little LMG burst across the bow might scare people off. Right. We are running out of time, so I'm just conscious. If anyone has a few last burning questions that you want to ask Ed, because obviously we have him on the show, get those in the chat quickly. Adventures of Zulu said, still not sure if my setup would be good enough.
Rubbish, sir. Absolutely. From what I saw at the intro to Milton, mate, absolutely bring it along and get yourself stuck in.
So, there you go. Right, well, while we're waiting for any more questions to come in, if you want to get in touch with the show, you can do so on our email, which is nofochat@hotmail.com. Our Instagram is @November_Foxtrot_NoFo, and the website is novemberfoxtrot.co.uk. We have had a couple messages about patches. We do have some patches for sale. So if anyone is interested, they are £7 each. We have the brown and the orange. So please get in touch with us either via the socials below, or you can message me directly as well at 9volt Airsoft, or the _punish_1_ for Lance. Andy as well, _quartermaster. We'll get those sorted out for you. So it's £7 a patch, and I think it was £1 postage. We just need to cover the postage as well, basically. So it's £7 a patch plus postage. We have a couple more of the bandages still as well going. There's only 1 or 2 left. So if you want one of those, the first batch of the sweatshop bandages.
Mother Fraser's sweatshop bandages.
Mother Fraser's sweatshop bandages. Then feel free to get in touch. We've got a couple of those left.
They are wicked.
Yeah. So I think that's. Oh, I just wanted to say as well, thank you to everyone who's on our Buy Me a Coffee. Obviously, we can't thank you enough for your support for the show. If you're interested, you can also check it out on our website. There's a little button at the top that you can go onto there. There's a few bits of content on there which aren't on Facebook and Instagram. Some of it's public, some of it is just for the Buy Me a Coffee people. But anything that goes to the Buy Me a Coffee people normally gets released as well to the general public after like a couple of weeks. So it's just a little bit of a perk there. But yeah, other than that, thank you. Oh, and if you want to give us a little like, there's a little counter on my screen about there that shows the likes. It just helps us beat some Facebook algorithms and stuff like that, apparently. Andy said it did. So if you want to give us a like on the video, give us a like. That'd be great. Absolutely.
And reviews as well. Leave a review. And Michael,
reviews, yes.
And we'll obviously, the sillier the better. And Michael read them out in a funny accent.
Yes,
he's good at that.
Oh, God,
question from James Hamilton. Do you have to have a ghillie? No, absolutely not. You don't have to have a ghillie. You have to have a bolt-action sniper rifle and a pistol sidearm of some description, but you do not have to have a ghillie suit, if that's what you're asking about, mate. Absolutely not.
He's got one. I think that's my partner that I won the game with, and he's got a ghillie, but I think he's just asking in case.
Yeah, it's just a general question. That's fine. Defiant Lance, when are we going for our Crab Shack date?
Oh, we need to sort that out, mate. Yes, I'm absolutely desperate now with the diet that I'm on. I need to just get some seafood. Absolutely. Yeah, we'll get on that. And then we're going to go to Block Tactical as well. We're going to arrange an appointment to go and see them guys.
Well, funnily enough, spoke to them at National Airsoft Festival, and they may be coming on the show.
Hey! So, well, maybe I'll get a table for me, James, and the guys from Block Tactical at the Crab Shack in Worthing. How about that? The Crab Shack in Worthing, if you're ever nearby, go and have seafood there, because it's the best. It's the best. No.
If anyone has any ideas as well as to someone that you want us to talk to, let us know, and we'll sort of try and reach out to them and get them on the show as well. I'm trying at the moment to get in touch with Vesti Foods. If anyone knows anyone that works with Vesti Foods, can you let me know? Vesti Foods make the British Army MREs, and I think it'll be a really interesting episode to have someone from them on.
British Army ration packs.
Sorry, ration packs, not MREs. The MREs is the American one.
Yes, they are. So fuck off with that. Thank you.
So Yeah, if anyone can, that'd be
It won't be
helpful.
coming on now.
Grey Fox, does the Bolty need to be spring powered?
Ed,
No, definitely not. Oh, yeah.
it just has to be a bolt action to
Yeah.
load the BB, basically. As in, no DMRs.
It can be no DMRs. It can be CO2 powered or HPA.
Mhm.
That's fine.
Cool. Right, well, I think that's everything. So, Ed, thank you ever so much for coming on, mate. It's always a pleasure.
Yes, absolute pleasure, sir.
I'm sure, no doubt, we will have you on again in hopefully the near future. So, yeah, see you then. Have you got Ed? I tell you what, I'll give you the opportunity of the closing remarks. We have the closing remarks section now. So, do you want to come up with any words of wisdom?
Pearls
that you'd
of
like to
wisdom
share
from Silly Ghillie.
before the end of the show?
You put me on the spot. I don't know. Subscribe to November Foxtrot on YouTube.
There we
Well, I
go.
don't have any words.
I'll put the
of
backs
wisdom.
payment in later.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. He can come back. No, fair play, mate.
No, thanks for coming on, bed. It's always a pleasure. And if you're out and about and see Ed, go give him a little handshake and say hello. That sounded really weird. Just go say hello to Ed. Don't touch him.
No, I
he's always
you can touch.
That's proper. Like, you went proper Alan Partridge then, Mike. Yeah, no, don't do that. I don't know.
No, don't do that.
What if I want to be touched?
Well, if you want to be touched, that's entirely up to you, bud. I'm not gonna. I'll leave that to you, but I'm not going to start pimping you out on the podcast.
For people to come and touch Ed.
Yeah.
Why not?
Oh dear, I'm just double checking what we're doing next week because I've forgotten off the top of my head. We've got Patrick from Land Nav Challenge going to be coming on. We're going to be talking about navigation.
Yes.
He's a nice little segue from this episode because obviously we've talked about getting lost at NAF and the Empire Rising. It's like a little bit of an orienteering exercise as well. So he will be on. We will be having a lovely discussion about navigation, which is a subject we've never covered before, which for 141 episodes in, that's quite good because we are starting to recover old ground.
I think we're doing quite well. Yes.
Yes, there we go. So yeah,
We didn't mean your old ground, Ed. We didn't. Mike didn't mean that. You're not old ground. You're fresh.
No, I don't mean Ed's old
current.
ground. Yeah. So join us next week, 8:00. Facebook and YouTube live, or you can listen back on any of our podcast devices. Apparently, you can just say, Alexa, play November Foxtrot, and it plays the latest episode.
Alexa, play November Foxtrot. No.
You haven't got Alexa, haven't you? He's a card.
He's frozen
What a
now.
card.
Right, we'll
That's
see you all
really-
next week. Have a good one.
Say goodbye, guys.
Bye, guys.
That was weird. I said it this week.
I know, it threw me.
Ciao, Bella.
See you later.
Say NoFo.
Get well soon, Andy.
Nipple.